there, ghouls and gals, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Hillary, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I don't know if anything sounds a little different. I've actually moved the location of this lair into my garage, which I hope to be my office soon, so like, if it's echoey or whatever, I guess we'll find out when we edit, because this being in the middle of my dining room just doesn't work. So tonight we are going to talk about a very controversial case. It's one of the most well-known, said to be one of the most haunted, but it is also very controversial, so it's gonna be fun. Tonight we are getting into the Amityville horror case, and for those of you that don't know, or those of you that do, this was a huge thing that happened in the 70s. This went on to books, movies. It is one of the mainstream horrors of our time, so you should know about it, but if you don't, it's okay, because I'm going to fill you in. 30 miles outside of New York sits Long Island, and nestled inside Long Island is a town called Amityville, which from now and probably for the next quite a bit is going to be forever linked to the Amityville horror. November 13th, 1974 is when the tragedy struck. Ronald DeFeo Jr., who was 23 years old at the time, waited till his whole family fell asleep and murdered everyone in their beds, including his mother, his father, his two sisters, and his two brothers. Now, the story gets a little sketchy because Ronald DeFeo Jr. was known for doing drugs. I'm not really quite sure if I can say what kind of drugs, but it rhymes with schmeroin. So quite a few times the story got changed. What was first said was after his whole family died, he went down to a local pub, said that a mob hit happened and his family died. Everyone rushed over to where their house was and found the 6 bodies. Now, of course, first the police were kind of like, oh, we have to protect him, but very slowly the story fell apart, and he later confessed to the entire murder. From then on, his story has changed multiple times to his sister Dawn was involved, and she ended up killing his brothers and his sister. He had no involvement. A lot of people think that also his sister Dawn did the entire murder because he was in no state to be doing murders when he's on schmeroin. So we're not quite sure what happened, and I don't think anyone will ever know except for Robert DeFeo Jr., and he is not sticking to a story. Even currently, he still sits in prison. He's about 60 years old now, but we're not going to know exactly what happened that night. Only he will. Now, it's said upon going into court, he went into court and he says that he was trying to convince everybody he was insane. He was going for an insanity plea. So he went saying that there was voices that were telling him to do it, all these other things, like the walls were talking to him, and then it made him kill his entire family. Of course, that's not what he first said. What he first said, all this was true, all this was happening. And now later on, he is saying that it was just an insanity plea. So again, he is not very trustworthy, but that is where the seed of this house is now haunted, demonically possessed, kind of stemmed from. But apparently some researchers who researched into the house say that this house was buried in or near ancient Indian burial grounds, and there was a kid back in the day that accidentally found a body, played kickball with its head, a bunch of other stuff. So people really, really believe that this house is demonic or super, super haunted. Now, after all this happened, the house sat vacant for like 13 months. It sat for quite a long time until a family decided, whoa, this is the deal of the lifetime. They were named the Lutz family. They got this house for $80,000, which was like a big reduced price on how much it was, because it's this old Dutch colonial that sits on a lake. It has a boathouse. It's like a 5-bedroom house. It's really, really big, but they were like, oh, this is the deal of a lifetime. After the sales lady, whatever, I forgot what that was. The sales lady came in and said, yeah, family died here. They kind of thought it over and they were like, if we want to move in, like, This is just what we're gonna have to do. So they purchased the house. The Lutz family actually only lived in this house for 28 days before fleeing. They left all of their furniture, everything behind, and it is still very unclear as to what happened that made them flee, like the last night or the last couple days, why they fled. They never really told anybody about it. I've tried to find papers like describing exactly what happened, but the last few nights they won't say. They didn't even say it to Ed and Lorraine Warren, which were big people investigating this case. It's actually one of the main reasons that they are as big as they are, because of this house, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So George and Kathy Lutz moved into 112 Ocean Avenue with her children from a previous marriage, and it was later changed to 108 Ocean Avenue, I believe, because people kept coming, and because of the movies, all this started to visit. So it is now 108 Ocean Avenue. George Lutz would say that at 3:15, almost every night, he would wake up from a dead sleep and he couldn't understand why. But it's said that at 3:15, that is exactly when Ronald DeFeo murdered his entire family. So that is a little bit significant. I'm not sure if he knew about that. I'm not searched it up. I'm pretty sure that would be pretty common knowledge, but we don't know. He says he woke up at 3:15. It is also said that George liked to dabble in the occult, so I don't know exactly specifically what that means. Did he take a Ouija board in the house? Did he perform rituals? What did he do? Maybe the house was so haunted because your boy was in there performing some demonic rituals in the attic. The Lutz family would claim that the house was cold in a lot of certain spots and would never get warm. They also claimed that they would see green ooze dripping from the walls and the locks of the doors all around the house, which to me, that's a little strange. Like, I don't know how you lasted 28 days when you're seeing green slime dripping from holes in your walls. Like, is this a mold issue? Is this normal? This seems weird to me. They also claimed that they would smell these strange odors coming from around the house, and that swarms of flies would appear in a particular room upstairs in the winter. So again, like, flies don't usually come out in the winter. So like, is there a dead raccoon in your walls? What's going on? Is there a demon? We don't know. Early on into the Lutz's moving in, Kathy allegedly, she had a priest come in, and this priest said that he heard something tell him to get out of the room. He was blessing the house at the time. He heard a voice coming from right behind him saying, "Get out." And he told them never to sleep in this room, and he ran from that house, and I don't think he wanted to go back after that. Now I'm just gonna read off, this is kind of the rest of everything that happened and went on, but they said the other paranormal activity was a nearby garage door was opening and closing, an invisible spirit knocking a knife down in the kitchen, a pig-like creature with wet red eyes staring down at George, and this is also said to be their daughter's imaginary friend Jody, that she could only see and was apparently her friend. They said that George would wake up to Kathy levitating off the bed, and the sons, Daniel and Christopher, also would levitate off their bed. So overall, if I had just heard that, I would have been like, whoa, you hella haunted. Like, if someone had just told me that, I would be very, yo, get out, don't stay there. Don't stay there. Why? But there are also a lot of contradicting evidence. Like, it's said that they were kind of in financial trouble, and with this haunting, they got book deals, movie deals, they got all the money that they could ever want. So a lot of people think that they fabricated the story. After, though, the whole family kind of went in, they had a lie detector test taken, and it is said that they all passed with flying colors. None of them were lying. Then again, I don't know how reliable a lie detector test is in the 70s or the 80s when they got their lie detector test done. But as far as we know, they all passed with flying colors. So that casts a shadow of doubt on, did this happen? Didn't it? The Lutz's former lawyer, William Weber, actually came out saying that all of this story was kind of fabricated over a couple glasses of wine, and he fell out with the Lutzes over money. So I don't know how reliable he is, because then again, you were mad at them that you didn't get any money. Of course you'd want to be like, that didn't happen. Now, after the Lutzes vacated the house and left, obviously they were kind of having trouble finding people to buy it or whatever was going on with that. That's kind of where Ed and Lorraine Warren came in. So they came to investigate. They brought a bunch of people, they brought cameras, they brought equipment, and they got this very famous photograph of a child peeking out behind the stairs, which they believe to be is one of the boys. They were very, very strongly, this happened, this was scary, but they're also very big at the time. So we don't know, did they have a child come in and they took this photo? What happened? I wish that I was there. You know what I mean? I wish in this situation I could have been there to say, did any of this ghost stuff happen? It's really something that you had to be there, because otherwise, was everybody kind of lying for money? We don't know. There have been about 4 other owners since the Lutzes, and none of them have reported anything crazy happening, no ghostly encounters. The weirdest things that happen is people stop by to try to take pictures of their house, because like, it's the Amityville horror house. So, did all this really happen to the Lutzes? Was it the ghosts, and because George was dabbling in the occult, that the family, the DeFeo family, came and started to present themselves as things? Was there a demonic presence that was pushing Ronald DeFeo Jr. to these murders, or was it just drugs and abuse from his parents? The problem is, we'll never know unless I randomly come into some money and am able to buy a house in America. I will never be able to go experience the Amityville house for myself and see what actually happened. So I can't say, usually I give my opinion. Usually I'm like, no, I believe this and this is what I think, and for sure. I can't say which way. I can't say whether or not people were faking it. I can't say whether or not it happened. I don't know which side I sit on. And it is very hard, because it is a huge tragedy that happened. People did die. 6 people were murdered. And as much as I want to believe with something that dark happening, it's almost like it should be a little bit haunted. But again, we're never gonna know. It all comes down to you guys. What do you think happened? Do you think that the whole house was actually super haunted? That it was haunted by Indians or a demonic presence that was not happy with the people on the land? Do you think a spirit told Ronald DeFeo Jr. to kill his family, and subsequently the Lutzes got haunted? Or do you think that it was just a boy who was badly abused, taking too many drugs, hurt his family, and then the Lutzes were just lying? And was that photo that was taken by Ed and Lorraine Warren, is that picture real, or was it just fabricated? Let me know down in the comments below. I hope to see you guys next time. Give me a like, subscribe down below if you enjoy this stuff, and I'll see you guys later.